Hello my dear friends, welcome back to another Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. We have a ton of updates in today's video, and we're going to start with the big topic of the day. Somehow, the Acolyte returned. Oh yes. I bet you didn't see it coming. I didn't. In a shocking turn of events, 9 months after its premiere date, the cancelled controversial Leslye Headland show has seen a weird and sudden surge of viewership. According to third-party data, and this is from a new report by Parrot Analytics, The Acolyte was the number 2 trending Disney Plus show for the first week of March 2025. And it only came second to your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And the very fact The Acolyte is still being talked about and is still trending 8 months after its finale is absolutely insane. For a series that was over budget, underviewed, and is not getting a second season, it's still drawing in a lot of interest. Not from the show itself, mind you, but rather the controversy surrounding it. And I just want to say the reason I'm saying this isn't to be cynical, it's because Parrot Analytics is not just looking at viewership. So before fans of The Acolyte get too excited, before they get ahead of themselves and say, this is evidence, it warrants a season 2. You know, I've already seen people say, this is proof, there's enough engagement and viewership, and Disney is wrong on their decision to cancel the show. Something that needs to be pointed out is that the trending tab on Parrot Analytics doesn't just take into account viewership, it's social media engagement and search activity. And not a week goes by without thousands of posts on X talking about the show. And usually it's not in a good way. This level of social media engagement doesn't translate to viewership on Disney Plus. It doesn't translate to buying a Disney Plus subscription and therefore profit. There are probably more people interested in the drama surrounding The Acolyte than the show itself. And that's one of the reasons it's still trending. And you might say, well Meg, what about those who are checking out the show for the first time? I'm not denying there are some, but again, part of the reason it might be seeing a surge is out of curiosity. There are plenty of fans who didn't see it when it released, but maybe they've read reviews, seen YouTube videos, and heard so much about the controversies and the drama, they might have decided, you know what, let's see what all of the fuss is about. Is it really as bad as people say? I'm just speculating about the different reasons for this surge, because it certainly is unexpected. And there is something to be said about the level of infamy associated with the series. Curiosity clicks. Just the name itself can spark so much debate. I'll give you a great example in my life. I was a big fan of Pet Sematary, the 1989 original, and horror fans, don't come at me for saying this, the 2019 remake. I really enjoyed it. And so a couple of years ago, a friend of mine said, did you ever see Pet Sematary 2? I replied no, and she says, I think it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. And so I looked it up, and it's a movie with such a weird and divisive reputation. And I went down this rabbit hole of different Reddit threads and different reviews. And in the end, I decided I'm going to check this out for myself. And I ended up buying it for a couple of quid on Amazon. And it was just based on this really strange cult classic status it had received. And so you never know, The Acolyte could be a similar situation. People just interested. What is all the hoopla about? Given the high budget though, the low viewership, I don't think there's any chance Disney renews it. But I bet if it ever did make a return, almost by way of paradox, most of the attention given to a hypothetical season 2 would be thanks to the discourse and the drama during the first. You talk about articles written, press, content creators, but this update has definitely empowered fans on social media who want that season 2, and those who started the hashtag #SaveTheAcolyte. You guys know I wasn't big on it, I'm not going to retread that territory, but I wanted to give you the update that from a social media perspective, The Acolyte is still a popular topic. Does that mean there's been an increase in viewership on the show?
To be honest,
If just by way of knee-jerk reaction to the title The Acolyte, it's almost this, you know, like I said, curiosity of what are they going to do next? This entire saga of controversial moments inside of and out of the show that would just make it fascinating if Disney made the baffling decision to bring it back. And with Star Wars, you never know. Ideas can definitely resurface years later. As I've suggested before, they should do something with Plagueis and Chimera. This article asked the question, did Lucasfilm make a mistake cancelling The Acolyte? It's subjective, but I'm going to say no. It was the right decision. We like to approach these kinds of questions with our own biases, but from Disney's perspective, it's only business. If it was the most hated thing in the world, but everyone tuned in, you can guarantee there would be a season 2, because from a profit standpoint, that would render it successful, but it wasn't. If we're talking about the Twitter wars and the media storm, the overwhelming dissension and attention the show got, if people are now tuning in because they've heard it so contentious, there could be something unexpected and bizarre to come out of this. That would be a very strange angle, but one that Disney could eventually exploit. I don't see it happening. I think this is just a small surge. But no, I don't think Disney's going to take that risk, because demand and clicking on an interesting review isn't always going to translate to Disney Plus viewership. Quite the opposite. Many fans rely on YouTube reviews, especially for content they're on the fence about. The Acolyte has been given all kinds of labels. For those who love it, and I don't disparage anyone who does, they see it as a departure from the formula of some of the other shows. And for those who dislike it, the show was the final nail in the coffin for Disney Star Wars. But no matter what, if we ever do get a season 2, if they ever decide we need to continue some of the stories we established, I know some Acolyte fans are going to come at me for saying this, but they need a new showrunner. But moving on to our next topic, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Katee Sackhoff, Bo-Katan Kryze herself, was asked if she's going to appear in the film, and she said no. But she worded it in a very sneaky way. She said, "I've not been in the armor in 2025. So at face value, it looks like she's saying no. But the Mandalorian movie didn't film in 2025. If she's in it, she would have filmed her scenes in 2024. I think there's a very strong chance Bo-Katan returns. I can definitely see a case of why this movie might not focus on her again. Now that the Mandalorian factions are reunited, do Din and Grogu really need to go back there? Does it really have to be straight away? Or should they give Bo-Katan a break until Dave Filoni's movie? It's mainly about Din and Grogu. But considering she went out of her way to formulate a response like this, I don't know guys, I feel like there's a good chance she is going to be back. In other Star Wars updates, my dear friends, John Boyega reveals that Tom Cruise is the reason he got the Finn gig for The Force Awakens. According to the actor who is rumoured to be returning for the Simon Kinberg trilogy, Tom Cruise is the one who recommended John Boyega to J.J. Abrams. He said, quote, "I'm thankful to Tom, who loved Attack the Block. He was editing Mission Impossible at the time with J.J. Abrams. And Tom told J.J., you have to see this kid. And one thing led to another, and then 4 or 5 years later, I was in The Force Awakens." Many of us were hoping for a Stormtrooper turned Jedi arc. They teased it in The Rise of Skywalker, so that's why I'm hopeful if he is back, for the Rey movie or the Simon Kinberg trilogy, they're gonna do more with him. I mean, he's gotta be back. Surely. Some big updates in the world of Star Wars gaming. So we know the next Star Wars game is going to be announced at Celebration, but we also have word that the KOTOR remake is still in development. But as you can see by just taking a look at some fan responses, there's very little fan hope it's going to be made. But Saber Interactive say this: everything we've talked about is still in development. But as usual, no specifics were given, and the remake has a complex history. Development issues, switching to Saber Interactive. I think it's one of those things that fans will believe it when they see it.